My name's Andy Beach. I'm a technical evangelist at Microsoft, and I work with our communications and media partners on technical solutions built around Azure that they ultimately can use with their partners or sell to their customers. Today I wanted to talk and focus around what it is that we're doing with machine learning, and in particular how we have productized that down to a level. We basically have approached machine learning in a way that you can consume it directly and come train models, or you can just come in and use the products that we've built around our machine learning to get started. Contextually, I don't think I need to tell anybody in here that video is a big deal. When you look at traffic, it continues to grow and grow. By 2020, they're projecting 5 exabytes of just surveillance traffic per month on the open internet. When you talk about those kinds of volumes, finding ways to automate the capture of the metadata and ways that we're working and manipulating that data becomes super important. AI is not just a media thing when we talk about it at Microsoft as well. We really see it as an approach from everything from the desktop, the applications, and the infrastructure as well. So when we talk about machine learning, we have multiple places contextually that we see it fitting into everybody's workflow. The focus that we're going to have today as I sort of start talking about things are really these 2 top levels, the cognitive services and then some of the data science tools that are out there, how we've productized those pieces together to work for you. What is cognitive services? So most people here probably aren't data scientists, although I suspect there's a couple that probably have data science in their job description, because I don't think I've gone into a meeting in the last year where there wasn't at least one data scientist in the room. It is definitely a growing area in the video world, but not everybody's going to be a data scientist. So what we've done is we've created a series of APIs that tap into machine learning that we have modeled and trained around particular events. And so you yourselves, all you need to do is, it went away. Okay, I'm just going to hold my finger on this while I talk. And so what we've done is we've created a set of APIs that touch back to a series of specific trainable models that you can use with your content for a variety of things. And those really fall into these areas: vision, speech, language, knowledge, search, or the laboratory. In terms of what that actually means is, when we're talking about media, being able to do things like content moderation, being able to do face detection, emotion detection. For audio, being able to do speech recognition and translation in real time. And then the others sort of expand out from there and start going beyond just the media model that we're talking about. So obviously, when we're talking about media cognitive services, we're talking about sort of the vision and speech APIs and what they allow you to do. And again, these are not things where your content actually has to be hosted on Azure or anything to interact with it. These are APIs that you can call with your content, get back the results. And those results start looking something like this. So if I hand it a simple image, I'm going to get back a wealth of data. And we format that data in JSON so that, come on. There we go. Okay. So you're going to get back something that you can then use within your content management system or somewhere else that's going to give you information you need about it. It's going to have basic metadata around the file, but it's also going to be able to tell you, is there adult content that's there? If there were objects, what's the confidence that we think we know what that object is? Can we do brand detection and recognition as well? Man, they are making me work for it today. Okay. So you're going to get back this kind of data. All right. when you're dealing with the cognitive services APIs. When we talk about the cognitive services and even the products that we're going to get to here, the video indexer and the Azure Analytics. So we have this product called Cognitive Services. Those are really targeted more towards developers, people who have their own applications and their own content, and they want to integrate a service that's going to pull this metadata, and that metadata can then be used for a variety of topics, whether it's facial detection and recognition, face obfuscation, face masking, looking for racy content, something that's would be considered adult, those kinds of elements. It can also be as simple as looking for better thumbnails that come out of the videos. So a lot of times when you have a content management system, it just automatically grabs like a frame 5 seconds into the video clip. Well, that may not be a great frame. It might have been a transition. It might have been a weird shot. So you can use the Cognitive Services APIs and the Compute Vision APIs to find better framing and better thumbnails to extract from the content that you're creating. But again, that's all done sort of at an API level, not necessarily something that someone that just has content and doesn't have an infrastructure or doesn't have an app would necessarily want to use. So we have other services and other pieces that have grown out of our Azure Meteor Service team, which they refer to as video AI. So it's the automated intelligence around video specifically. And they have 2 products there that we have that are available. You have Azure Media Analytics, which will go through and do all the things. Think of it as a bundling of all the cognitive services APIs that you could directly connect to your stuff. Here, instead, you're going to have your content on Azure, and in a bundled sort of one-step process, instead of multiple REST APIs that you would need to call, you can do video stabilization. You can do face detection and redaction if needed. You can do the content moderation. You can do object detection. You can do emotion detection, so you can see sort of what the sentiment of the people that are on screen during the entire time is. You could do things like motion detection, so getting alerts or values back when there's actual motion on screen. And then you can also pull audio transcripts of the entire thing. So you'll take all the audio, get it extracted out as a searchable transcript that you can then look through for either keywords or set up triggers around specific things, looking for certain values, like looking for the word Microsoft as an example. So that's basically put together as it's just going to give up, as a service. And I've got a URL that I'll provide with the deck. Oh, I almost wanted to come back. So the other product that the Azure Media Services team has that uses video AI is called the Video Indexer. And really, the Video Indexer has a similar set of tools that it can do. It's got the ability to bundle together and pull all of this wealth of metadata with the content. In addition, you can do sort of a dynamic curation of that content or publish dynamically with it. So all of those values are available as APIs, or as widgets that can be embedded as part of the player. So effectively, you could take and create a content cloud or a word cloud of the relevant topics that are in your video, and very quickly use those as a button to click between the areas where someone's talking about a given topic. You can use the face detection and the face widget to get a map or a list of all the faces that are in your video and quickly click on it and see a heat map of the timeline of where all of those people are. And so That's obviously something anybody could go out and also build off of the APIs that we have for cognitive services, but we felt it was important to productize that as well because everybody doesn't need to go build that infrastructure. So we've built it once. You can access it with your content that you have on our platform as well. And I would love to show it to you. And if anybody wants to see it, I'll happily sit with them and skip the first bit of your lunch if you want to see it working. There is a working URL, so if you go to vi.microsoft.com, that's the front page to the video indexer. And anybody today, because it's in preview, if you go in and sign with any Microsoft Live ID, so your Hotmail account, Outlook, your Gamer ID, whatever, it'll give you 40 free hours of uploadable content. So you can take any of your content, upload it. There's also some sample footage there, so you can sort of see what I'm talking about and how it interacts with the content. But you'll be able to upload your content there and play around with it as well. And it's as simple as upload it, wait for it to process. Processing time, unless it's super complicated content, I've generally seen it be about a 1-to-1 or maybe a 1 to 0.75. So if you've got an hour of content, it probably takes about 40 minutes to truly sort of extract and get all the metadata to a point where you could see it. For short clips, it tends to be much quicker, and for relatively static content, it's even faster. So those are really sort of the two products that we have. In terms of who's using this today already, Uyala is one of our first partners that has integrated Video Indexer into their service. So they have a content management system called Flex. And they have a version of that running on Azure that's integrated the Video Indexer today so that any content that you're ingesting into Flex system automatically gets all of this metadata that's fed back into the content management system, into the Flex UI, so that you can very quickly use it to pull to specific information within your content or use it to make intelligent advertising decisions, that kind of thing. So Uyala is one of the first that has integrated the Video Indexer directly into this, and they see it as a very valuable asset because before they were having to do manual curation to get the same kinds of information that now we're effectively providing in real time for them, and then they can extend that and add additional curation to it. But we've taken away a lot of the workload that they were having to go create, and obviously they're not going to sit and do that immediately every time a video is uploaded, so there was also a lag, and so we've sped up the entire process that they're effectively using to get that content out there. So are there any questions around cognitive services or machine learning at Microsoft? Yes, sir. So the question was, is there ability to do real-time processing? So the products that are out there today are definitely more around on-demand content. So you're uploading it and you're doing processing there. One of the things on the roadmap is live content as well, and being able to process that. And in fact, we have teams that are actively working on live solutions. Those tend to be a little different scenario where you're actively looking for specific content in a feed. So, you know, maybe you're looking for, you're scanning a 24-hour news feed and you're looking for breaking news or important information and that kind of thing. And then you're going to send a trigger that does something else. Or you're going to send maybe a highlight reel at the end of the day that lists all the items that you've set keywords for. So it's not as robust or sort of expansive a thing that you're querying. You're generally, in that one, you're targeting what you want to query for a live feed so that you can react to it very quickly. You're not doing sort of the wide, expansive thing that you would on an on-demand clip. But it's certainly something that's in the works. It just hasn't been productized yet. Yes, sir. Yep, so what is the pricing? So today, because it's still in preview, it's free to use, like I said, so you can go give it a spin. The way that they're doing the pricing is per finished minute of your content. So if you have 2 hours of content that needs processing, you're gonna pay a price for that. You're not gonna pay the amount of time it takes to actually generate or process the metadata. Nadine, you had a question? So actually, I had a whole slide around that, so I'm going to go back to it to make sure I reference and don't miss any. So there's a couple different places that this get used because obviously media is more than just sort of an entertainment scenario. It's extremely useful for in the security and surveillance world. There's use cases there around being able to do some of the live scenarios of detection that we were talking about. Also being able to do the facial redaction. Within education and government spaces, there's obviously use cases for that as well, where getting transcripts of either classroom scenarios or Senate hearings or other things in as near real time as possible and making it available and searchable are valuable. But then within media and entertainment, it's already being used as well for things like better decisions around the types of ads that we serve against content, the types of recommendations that we can use for content. So if I have a lot of metadata around the content that's going through the player, I can make more intelligent decisions around what to recommend to a user because I know that it's got connections either by directors that were involved, actors that were in it, keywords and topics that were discussed in it. All of those are kinds of things that I can feed into my recommendation engine to make better choices for it down the road. Yep, so you're pulling out a full text transcript that is available and searchable, but it's also translatable because we have Bing associated in this as well. So it's actually translatable into 10 different languages today, and more will continually be added. I think it's such early days with machine learning and media in general. I mean, like machine learning is just a hot topic, and so everybody's looking at how it can be applied across the board. And in media, that's absolutely true as well. Again, every meeting I've sat in, there's a new scenario where we have found that we can use it. I even have had conversations around using, like, take away from extracting metadata from the video. I've had whole conversations where people are now training neural networks to do better adaptive streaming from the server side and make decisions as to when to send content based on the aggregate number of stalls or delays it's seeing in the network. So machine learning is going to continue to proliferate in these areas, and these kinds of products, even though it's sort of targeted at sort of retail, sports, entertainment, there will be other use cases that invariably come out of it in the long run. Yeah, so there's effectively two things you can look at. If you're a developer and you just want to put this in at an API level into an app that I've created or into a backend system, you want to look at the sort of the cognitive services capabilities are there for very specific use cases. If you want to bundle all of it into one collection, in other words, if you want all of the different pieces that we've talked about, it's productized under two different services, the Azure Media Analytics or the Video Indexer. And that way, rather than having to continually, hit all of these different individual APIs, you basically have a one-stop where you can upload your content, get back all the data that you want, and then use it in your content management system or in whatever tool that you're going to use. There's a couple. There's one right here, sir, in the gray shirt.
So where are you at right now with real-time text-to-speech or captioning?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So the question was, where are we with live captioning, and then how does that work with live translation? So there were proof of concepts that were running even at as early as NAB, but also again at IBC. In the Microsoft booth, the team that works on Video Indexer and analytics had a live closed captioning system working as a proof of concept. And it's something that they're still interested in productizing and putting out there. They just haven't finalized it yet. So I'd say it's very close, and probably check in at NAB again.
And do you think it would be a big jump from that to incorporate live spot translations to offer multiple?
No, absolutely not. And in fact, we're already doing a lot of that in Skype today. So there's a translation service where I can communicate with someone that's that's a foreign speaker, and we don't understand each other's languages, but it provides a real-time translation of our voices back and forth. And it's using the same underpinning technologies that this stuff is looking at. It's just productized in a different way. Sorry, you, sir, right.
How granular for broadcasting? How granular does it get down to? You have frame by frame or scene?
Yep. So the question was, how granular does it get? So you can pull objects on a frame-by-frame basis. It's also doing scene detection, so it's trying to gather where your scenes are doing dramatic changes of some sort. So you're really getting both out of it. Yes, sir.
So all of the cloud providers are beginning to come out with cognitive services.
Mm-hmm.
So how is Microsoft kind of differentiating? What's different in your service versus others?
Yep. So the question was, how is Microsoft's service different from all the other AIs that are out there? I think the major difference that I've seen is the productizing it down to a level of literally having a service where I could go upload my content and directly feed back the widgets and the material so that I'm immediately creating an interactive experience. The AI services I've seen elsewhere are a little more akin to the APIs that you can integrate in and just go deal with. So I think we're a little more quickly easier to use if you're not a developer. In other words, if you just have content and you want to get highly interactive and engaging content, this is a really easy front door to come through to work with it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, use cases. Does it have the ability to do like mat sounds such as gunshot, alarm?
Yeah, it does do. So the question was, do we have the ability to get sort of natural sounds out of the audio? It's trying to make decisions around what it is hearing. So it does things like if you go look at some of the sample videos that are on vi.microsoft.com, you'll see that in the transcript there'll be things like applause or other things. It's trying to make best guesses as to what's there. I've seen it mess up horrendously and hilariously. I'll say that all the backend all of these are sort of working models that are continually retuned and continually sort of updated, and so you see them get better and better over time. Yes, sir.
What's the processing overhead? Let's say I have an hour of video.
Yep.
What would it take to process that?
It's generally I've seen it be 1-to-1, but it's generally 1-to-1 as sort of a maximum. So in other words, it's typically a little less, but it's somewhere in the order of like 0.75 or something. Yeah. Yep. Was there a hand over here somewhere too that I saw? Nope. Any other questions? Nadine, you always, okay.
What is accuracy? So I was talking to a company where they must say they're still images, but their
Yep.
concern is you're mislabeling something, not your company.
Sure.
Mislabeling content. So what's the accuracy level when you're going for video images?
Sure. So the question was, what's the accuracy level look like? So everything that is in the APIs or productized tends to be relatively high because it's been vetted. In other words, we have other working versions of the models that are in the process of being trained and having content thrown at it. And so the things that are commercially available or publicly available tend to be in the 90s or better for accuracy. But again, accuracy is a moving target. As soon as you change speaker, it could start messing up words that it was catching before just because the intonations or accents or something else is different. So it's a continually moving target, and it's something that all of us, not just Microsoft, but everybody has to be conscious of continually retraining and improving the model to capture what's there.
And right now, Uyala is about this kind of product?
Uyala has this integrated today, and it's available as part of their Flex package, and they'll continue to add new elements of it as we make it available. They're one of the sort of closest partners that we've been working with on it. There are, and there's another demo that I had. Let me see what this URL was. I don't know that this one. So at IBC, we had a demo with NextTV. Showing how they were using the video indexer APIs around intelligent advertising decisions. So they're basically looking at the metadata that's coming in and making decisions around what kind of video ads to either overlay or insert into a video based on the objects that are being pulled out of it. So the demo I have is like a Nike Air video that's playing, and you're seeing running shoes, people running, courses, that kind of thing. And so it makes a decision to pull up a sneaker overlay rather than like a car overlay because it's more appropriate. So targeting ads using the metadata that's generated out of these also is a great use case.
And that's targeting a display ad or video?
These are video ads, video overlays on a running on-demand clip. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Automated QA. Do
Mhm.
you use these tools to help, identify drop frames or artifacts or drop audio?
Yeah, so the question was, is there an automated QA string? So that's actually, because of my background with video, that was one of the first areas I was interested in as well. Like a great use of looking for like just a bad frame and those kinds of things. It's not a version of what's out there today because this one is a little more targeted at extracting metadata that you're going to use with some other piece of the workflow, but it's absolutely a model at a lower level if you go back to some of the APIs that are there, that is absolutely doable, and one of the areas that I personally have been interested in seeing more work happen in.
You talked about video stabilization?
I didn't, but I can briefly. So video stabilization was another one of the areas that Video Indexer will pull in. It really grows out of, there was a Microsoft research project that got popular a couple of years ago called Hyperlapse, where I could shoot a video on my cell phone. It could be as shaky as I wanted it to be. It got uploaded to the cloud and then stabilized. We're using the same image stabilization technology that was developed as part of that research project, as part of these machine learning APIs. So effectively, it can take a handheld image and look to reduce the shutter or the shifts that it's getting in the overall sort of camera movement. No, you're doing good.
Okay. Looking at determining which kinds of video feeds are coming in, you mentioned it
Mhm.
briefly before, but can you talk a little bit more about what happens with, I guess it's a QoS type of tool that you're using, but what example, how is it being used?
For which scenario? Sorry, which?
So for video content that is coming in for picking out different levels or different strategies and codes, you mentioned that this tool is available to actually look at and help you correct the different levels if you have a bad video signal going out.
Well, that's more of like what he was talking about in terms of using it as like a QoC tool of some sort. And this isn't really developed more for that at this point. It's more about pulling the metadata and using it with some other part of a workflow, whether it's part of my CMS, my advertising, what have you. There's absolutely scenarios where you can use the image detection and the compute vision algorithms to look for bad frames or content that doesn't make sense in the context of what's been around it. But that's not sort of how it's been productized at the moment, unless I'm misunderstanding what you're asking.
I'm just kind of quickly confused. How about the analytics? Is there anything else about the analytics we should know about that we can cover?
On the Azure Analytics side, let's see. I think probably the biggest one that I didn't touch on, but it is a really cool aspect, is video summary. So being able to through just machine learning, allowing for an extremely long clip to be summarized into whatever the highlights or what the most sort of interesting information may be. And it's doing that through a couple of different ways. So the scenario, I worked with a lot of our esports partners for years as part of the Xbox team. And I really pushed for this as a feature because after having to watch 7 or 8 hours of Twitch streams, I was like, man, wouldn't it be great if I could just get the 5 kill shots that happen in that 7 hours of content and get it as a summary. And that's exactly what this service does now. So I can feed it any long form clip and using whatever it has in terms of emotion detection, words out of the transcript, people moving in and out of a scene, it's going to do its best job to pull together a summary highlight of whatever that longer content is. And, you know, again, it's a thing that the first time you use it, is it exactly right? Nah, it's something where you have to keep tuning it, tweaking it, playing with it to get it to the point you want. But once you have it working the way you want, it's actually a really cool feature. Yes, sir?
The entity extraction you do, and how much you can do complexity that you have vocabularies, what kind of keywords you have behind, and can you return more in a graph, kind of like, higher view?
Are you talking about particularly in relation to summaries or just extracting the data?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we extract out, and again, I wish I could show it to you, but if you go to Video Indexer, it'll show you effectively what we're returning is just a large scale JSON feed that's got objects tagged in it, and it's got confidence scores against each of the things where it's giving you, you know, we think it is this. And so you can start with that sort of confidence information, you can start culling things out or widening things if you need to. So for example, if you have a lot of soda cans in your shot, but we missed part of them, or you can expand out what the confidence score of that area is supposed to be, hoping that, you know, we pull in and tag the additional objects that were available for recognition. So it's relatively tunable to your content based on what you need.
Assuming that the confidence is good for all the
Yep.
things that you extracted, what kind of like high vocabulary you have behind? Like you have a can, can you connect that to a Coca-Cola can, or can you connect to a beverage, or
Yep, your return, so you're not gonna, you don't just get that it's a can, you get can and then you get all of those other elements. So it's trying to extract, if it sees written text, it's going to try to extract that as well and provide it with a tag that it's OCR'd content that came off of the screen. But then, you know, like if I'm looking at a scene of a man swimming, I don't just get that it's a man swimming. I get a man swimming in water, Caucasian, age approximately 35, we think. You know, he seems happy at the moment. Like, so you're getting a wealth of data. You're not getting one or two words. You're getting back, you know, dozens or sometimes hundreds of pieces of metadata about each scene that you're analyzing.
and you know where those things happen?
Yep, so they come back with pieces of time code associated with it, and then, like I said, this confidence score. Yep. Yes, so, and that's something that you can also see on Video Indexer, so it's something that you'll actually be able to pull up on your own laptop and look at. One of the widgets that we return that we have for the Video Indexer is we've gone through and we've analyzed and we've pulled all these faces that are available. I can click on any of the faces in this widget. If I choose to have the widget available as part of my player, I can click on any of the faces and I get a timeline of the video, and I just see spots or dots around each area that they are on that, in that video, and I can just quickly jump. I can just tap on the timeline and jump to any scene that that person's face showed up in.
And then can you do further things too, like the can?
Yep, so the heat map isn't there for objects today. That's, as you can imagine, objects are different than people. It's actually much easier to index people in the long run, but they're working on elements for doing it with objects as well. Today, objects are more of a, it's presented in the UI just a little differently in terms of how I can click on an object and jump between where it is in the timeline, but I'm not necessarily getting the heat map for it the same way I am the faces. Yes, sir.
In terms of, just to make it scalable, what is the smallest size or resolution that you can work with for a video?
So the question was, what's the smallest size you could work with? Gosh, I don't know if there's a lower limit. I mean, I've seen relatively small, and you're talking about like actual resolution, right? Not time.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen.
The 4K video.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously going to start knocking down confidence scores when you try to do things like facial detection if you've got lower resolution. But I don't think they've set a lower resolution limit on what you could actually upload. You're just probably going to get not as great results as if you were doing 1080p or higher. Cool. Any other questions? I'm really sorry that I wasn't able to actually show anything.
How would you train the system that was customized to my particular business?
Uh-huh.
Like Twitch,
Yep.
right? Unique things that everything focused.
Yeah, so Video Indexer, when I create an account there, it's a multi-tenant environment. So it's automatically sort of set up that when I go log in and create an account, that's my account. And so I've got access to the basic model of things. But for example, the first time that I upload a bunch of videos, I'm probably going to get unknown as the face because, it's not going to know me or other people. And we have a celebrity database we're tied to, and so we automatically get a lot of celebrities and a lot of Microsoft people who like to call themselves celebrities. But it's not going to know me. It's not going to know my friends. But I can tag their faces. And now every time that I upload a new video that has one of these faces I've already tagged, it's already in my account. It recognizes that, and it automatically associates that with the person. So as you build out your account and as you continue to upload content and tag and add the missing unknown elements, it becomes available for your specific account. Now that doesn't mean if I then go to my friend's account and upload content, I'm back to square one because I'm not going to have access to all my unique metadata that I put in there. I'm just going to have access to the baseline metadata in that other account. So it's set up as a multi-tenant environment for that. Sorry, was there a question in the back? Nope. Okay, yes, sir. I'm sorry, what was the question? Do they make uses of hardware acceleration? They may very well be doing that on the back end. I'm not sure though, because it's just not I haven't gone into how it's doing the processing. I suspect that it's probably pure compute, but they might also. We do have GPU accelerated cores as part of Azure as well, and it may be taking advantage of that. But I suspect that it's just pure compute, but I don't know for sure. Yes.
So just to follow up on the quick question here. So a customer is uploading their content. They own their metadata? You own their metadata?
They own their metadata. Yep. Yep, absolutely. Cool. Well, if there are no other questions, again, I apologize for the snafu that we had with the stuff, but if you reach out to me, my email address is easy. It's andy.beach, andy.beach@Microsoft. I'll happily share a PDF of the presentation and answer any questions that we missed through this. And again, if you want to go check out Video Indexer, you can do that today. Just go to vi.microsoft.com, log in with any Live ID account that you may have, and you can start uploading content and seeing the kinds of capabilities that I was talking about and gesturing about. Cool. Thanks, guys.